This is Rob. I am back to pump some faith into you, and we are in week 5 of the coronavirus shutdown. That's 5 weeks you've been sitting in your home with everybody shut down and everything going crazy. You even have to line up 6 feet behind somebody to just get into Walmart. It's crazy. And I know that, in the midst of all this, it's like, what are you supposed to do? It's like almost like you're lost, right? I remember as a kid one time when I got lost. I knew where I was, however, my mother did not. We had went to a mall, Golden Ring Mall in Baltimore, Maryland, and as a kid, I wanted to go check out the toys. So we went down to JCPenney, which was on one end of the mall, and I said, hey, Mom, can I go look at the toys? And she thought in her head, when she said yes, hey, you can go look at the toys in the JCPenney toy section. I thought, I'm gonna walk myself all the way down to the other end of the mall, in the middle of a city mall, and go to the toy store, and that's where I'm gonna check the toys out. So I did. I left JCPenney, I walked down to the mall at the other end, and had a good old time looking at He-Man and Thundercats and G.I. Joe and all those things. And then when I came back, I was shocked, because the whole section of the mall had been shut down. The police were out there looking for everybody, and all of a sudden, bam, I get smacked. My mom's like, where have you been? Because she lost me. This miscommunication made her lose me, and I put her in deep anguish, and she was just scared to death. Her anxiety was at its highest because she had lost someone dear to her. And today, I think some of you are feeling the same thing. Today, I think that some of you are feeling, I love this Jesus, but where is he? Where's Jesus in the midst of all this craziness, and in the midst of the boredom, in the midst of the fear, in the midst of this thing trying to get along with my family? Where is Jesus? And most of you have probably heard this account that is found in Luke chapter 2 of Jesus' childhood before. In fact, it's the only story of Jesus growing up that we have. And it's a story of where his parents, Mary and Joseph, their earthly parents, lost Jesus. And these weren't monsters of people. They had just, in the midst of all the craziness of life, they misplaced him. So I want to read that. I want to turn to this book once again and open up Luke chapter 2, and starting in verse 41, and read this. Now, every year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. So they were celebrating a holiday. And when he was 12 years old, they went up as usual for the festival. And when the festival was ended and they started to return, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Assuming that he was in the group of travelers, they went a day's journey. Then they started to look for him among their relatives and friends. And when they did not find him, they returned to Jerusalem to search for them. And after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. That's 5 days of losing your kid. And they lost Jesus. Jesus, the most perfect child of all time, right? They lost him. Mary and Joseph weren't monsters. They were just traveling in a caravan. And when and the Jews in the first century, when they traveled in the caravan, men were separate from the women. So they probably were like, Joseph was up there thinking, oh, he's back with Mary. And Mary's probably thinking, oh, he's up there with Joseph. And so they were traveling a day away, had to come back another day, look for him for 3 days, 5 days, without finding Jesus. They had seriously misplaced him. Can you imagine the terror? Can you imagine the anxiety? Some of you are feeling that. You know that your hurts, habits, and hang-ups have creeped back in because your anxiety is so much during this time, you're hurting so much during this time, that you've got to do something to fill that void. And you know the old phrase, right? Hurt people hurt people. So who are you with right now? Stuck with? Your family. So probably because we're misplaced in Jesus, and we're not allowing him daily to heal us, and not allowing him daily to really wrap his arms of love around us, we're hurting the people we love the most. You're feeling hurt, and hurt people hurt people. This is where I really do think that step 6 of Celebrate Recovery comes in. It says this, step 6, we are entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Entirely ready to let God work on us, not misplace them, but let God work on us, let Jesus work on us, so that our defects can be taken care of. So that we don't walk around as hurt people hurting people, but we walk around as people who have an anchor in the grace of Jesus and set free. Some of you are thinking, yeah, that's great, but my family knows me. They know the real me, and they see me every day, and they know that God has a lot of work to do. You think God is not big enough to be able to handle that? God is awesome, and he can handle whatever you throw at him. Mary and Joseph left Jesus behind because they were distracted. And there they were, distracted, trying to just get home, get their home set up and everything back after the holidays. And he wanted to get back to normal. Mary and Joseph took their eyes off of Jesus because they just wanted things back to normal. How many times have we said that during this time? That we just want things back to normal. That's why we need to remember Hebrews 12:2, which says this. Look to Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. Fix your eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith, who for the sake of the joy that was set before him endured the cross. Our eyes during this time have to be fixed on Jesus. You need to find, through all the midst of all this, Jesus. You need to go back. Like Mary and Joseph, they had to go back to Jerusalem to find Jesus. Some of you need to do the same thing. It might mean the same thing for you, that you go back to where you last heard him, where you last felt him, where you last met him. Because he's there in that last time that you heard him preached about. And he's there in that song that just overwhelmed you. He's there in the smile of someone that loves you, just beaming towards you, reminding you of God's love. He's there when you heard about your sinful condition and yet God still loves you. He's there in the midst of your hurts, habits, and hang-ups saying, I've got you, I can set you free. He's there in that sweet song that lets you meet Jesus for real. He's there when you've heard and believed and confessed. He's there. And all you got to do is go back to him. Jesus is there in that old gospel message that you first believed. Go back. Go back to him. And there,